Hey guys, it's Bina, and in today's video, I want to go over how to make the most powerful items in the entire game. So these are legendary items. So this Epoch is a Frozen Light, for example, which has red text and has a red tooltip. Now this is now a legendary item, but it once was a unique item. Something like this Death Rattle, which has 2 legendary potential on it. So how this works is you must complete a dungeon and then put 2 items in the cache at the end of the dungeon, which would be one unique with LP, which is short for legendary potential, and an exalted item here, right? So it needs to be the same type of item. An amulet has to go into an amulet, and because this has 2 LP, it will grab 2 affixes from this item and assimilate them into this unique item. So this is completely random. The exalted item has to have 4 affixes on it. If you have a sealed affix that you would have sealed beforehand with a Glyph of Despair, for example, it will never grab the sealed affix. So it will only grab either crit multi, poison damage, ally res, or chance supplier frailty on hit. 2 of those will be assimilated by the Death Rattle if you put both of these in the dungeon, in the cache after the dungeon. So which dungeon you have to do? You have to do the Temporal Sanctum. Temporal Sanctum, you need to have a key to be able to go and open the door of the dungeon. So how do you actually do this? Well, first of all, let's talk about how to actually unlock the Temporal Sanctum dungeon. So while doing the campaign in the Imperial era, you will get to the Oracle's abode at some point. Talk to the first NPC to the top right of the town. He will unlock a quest for you. You must go back to the Shining Cove, go into this little gate here. That is going to bring you to the Ruined era at the Ruined Coast. And there is one rare monster that you have to kill in the Ruined Coast. He will give you access to an item to grab, and he will also open the door, well, a portal to the Temporal Sanctum. So now that you entered here and have the waypoint, you can right-click any Temporal Sanctum key, and that will open up the map menu directly here, and you can just click here and travel to the Temporal Sanctum. So that is the first quest. You must unlock it during the campaign to be able to access the Temporal Sanctum. Now that you are here, there is going to be a big door which you can click on to enter the key, right? So you click on this door and you put the key in. That is going to let you enter the Temporal Sanctum, and then there are 4 tiers of dungeon difficulty. Tier 1 is level 55, Tier 2, Tier 3, and Tier 4. Each of these will enable you. To the left here, you see Eternity Cache can accept unique items with a level requirement of 50 and below. So Tier 1, you can only slam level 50 and below unique items. So because this Death Rattle is required level 36 at the bottom here, the bottom right of the item, you could actually do Tier 1 dungeon Temporal Sanctum and slam this one with any exalted amulet, for example, that you wish for this item to assimilate stats of. That being said, you are always incentivized to go the highest possible because the area level is going to be 100, and that is going to give you the better chance at loot and the better chance at the boss drops rate. So ideally you want to go Tier 4, but if you can't and you really want to slam an item, you can go in lower tiers. Just make sure that the item requirement is the proper level. So Tier 2 is 65, Tier 3 is 75, and Tier 4 has no limit. Now let's go over a run that I did a little bit earlier today when I was slamming my gear for my low life scroll build. So this is my explosive ballista build, which I did to run Tier 4 Julra, but I was actually trying to get items for my scroll build. So you enter here. Now you can see that there are some blockades right here. It's like some gates. Like this dungeon has the D ability to do the temporal shift. And as you will see, the Temporal Shift brings you from one era to another. So the entire dungeon is based around this, and you're going to have like blockades like this, which you need to swap eras to see if you can actually access it from the other era. See, I just swapped era, I'm now in the Void era, and there is still a door. I must find another way. Your goal in this dungeon is to find the 2 exits. So the first floor has they always have 2 exits per floor, but you must find the exit to go to the next floor, and then on the second floor, there's another exit to go to the boss fight. So very, very simple. It's just a matter of, you know, working your way through the dungeon and seeing where the doors are. Usually what I do is I go to the top right, and then I follow the edge of the dungeon to the left, and you'll find the exit that way. So we'll go a little bit faster here. Okay, so this was the first door here. you'll notice that the door actually has like a small, kind of like a quest marker here to tell you that the door is here. You open the door, it gives you another modifier, and then you can enter the second level. As we go even further here, same thing for the next area. It's absolutely the same thing. So basically, I'm just going to go forward here a little bit, and we're going to find the second door. We found the second door, and then we get to the boss fight area. So as you see, I went to the right side. I followed the edge of the dungeon to make sure that I don't miss the door, and then you find it, and then you enter. So this is Tier 4 Julra. It is a boss fight that you actually need to learn the mechanics of. On this character, it's actually not a very good character to showcase you the actual mechanics. I will swap to my Thorn Totem character, which I can showcase much better how to deal with this boss. So here we are at Chronomancer Julra with the Thorn Totem build. In the very first moment, you have a few moments to actually hit her before she starts her big challenge attack, which is this big AoE, which is actually her one-shot ability, which you cannot tank unless you are an extremely tanky character. Although there are very, very few builds that can do this. So the actual mechanic for this is to use the D key, which is the dungeon ability, which enables you to swap eras. So we're going to do this before the actual circle finishes here. We're swapping eras. We're going to the side of the arena because she will spawn a puddle of damage over time under you. It starts spawning like this. You must leave that to the side of the arena so that it's not in your way, and you can keep dodging her attacks after this when the fight continues, right? So if you stay in this puddle, it will deal an insane amount of damage, and you will not be able to survive this. Again, there are very, very few builds that can actually survive standing in the puddles. So after this, she will spawn these little pillars here. These pillars, if you don't destroy them, they will spawn like bolts of electricity towards you and like lightning strikes. And you know, it's recommended to destroy them. But if you have enough damage or enough survivability to actually survive it, you don't really have to. And this little fountain here, it will start healing Julra, so you actually want to destroy it as well. So Julra next does this big conal ability. There are certain abilities like this that you must recognize when she starts an attack, and then she does a telegraph attack, you avoid it, and that's pretty much the end of it, right? So you want to start doing as much damage as possible. She will start this thing here. These 4 orbs with the lines in between is a damage over time, and these things as well, they will rotate around the arena, and they are all damage over time. So you must stay in like the short vicinity here, in between these two, in a circle around her to be able to deal damage to her safely. In the meantime, she also does a couple of abilities. She does this big conal again. She does this big circle of electricity here, the puddle on the ground. You must be able to avoid. And basically, it's just like telegraph attacks that you must avoid. She does her big circle again. Now, same thing here. We swap to the next era. We'll go to the side of the arena so that it's not in our way and we can still continue dodging attacks. We move. We get hit a little bit. You usually get like 1 tick or 2 ticks of damage from this puddle, but your build should be able to handle that to come here and do Temporal Sanctum. And then she does again the rotating dots with the little circles there. You just keep attacking her, keep attacking her. She does the circle of lightning. She does a cold ability here. Most of her attacks are cold, lightning, or void. So that is pretty much it for the fight. Some builds can actually kill her in like 1 second. Some other builds will take more like 1 minute. It's really up to you to decide which character you want to come in here and actually do the fight with. We're back here after this fight. She always drops a unique with 1 LP and an exalted item to go with it. She will always enable you to use the temporal cache that is behind her boss room. So you enter the temporal cache room here in the back, and then this is the cache, the eternity cache. You swap eras, right? And then you go, well, depending on which era you ended up in, but you seal a unique item with LP and an exalted item with 4 affixes. Each item must be of the same type. So a sword with a sword must be, like, if it's a one-handed sword, it has to be a one-handed sword. If it's a pair of boots, can be another pair of boots. It just must be the same type. So here I was going for the Heralded Scurry. I was trying to get +4 to summon wolves on it. So we have 1 LP on this one, right? 1 legend potential. I wanted to absorb 1 stat off of this other helm. Ideally, I wanted this to take +4 to summon wolf. So we'll go with this one. And then you seal the cache, you swap eras, and then you open the cache again. And then you just hope that you get it, right? This is completely RNG. If you only have 1 LP, it's going to be 25% chance. If you have 2, you have way more chances, 3 and 4, etc. We got 6% lightning res, which is absolutely terrible. But then again, it doesn't matter because, you know, it's basically one of the, not, I wouldn't say gambling, but like it's one of the more chase things to have in the game, and chasing items with great LP slams on this is very, very fun. And yeah, this is part of the game. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So this is how the Temporal Sanctum works. The Eternity Cache, you swap eras, you put your items, you swap eras again, and then you grab your item that have the legendary slam on them. So that pretty much covers the Temporal Sanctum and how to make some of the best items in the entire game. So if you like these kind of videos, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys all in the next video.